Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning and welcome back to another Kahului Hongwanji stay-at-home Sunday service. So today we're observing Buddha Day, also called Hanamatsuri. Hanamatsuri is a celebration of the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha, or before he was Buddha, his name was Siddhartha Gautama. And he was born, there's not certainty about it, but something like 2,580 or 90 years ago in India, in northern India. And ancient legends tell us that at the time of his birth, the universe was filled with joyful music, and flowers bloomed in full glory everywhere, and sweet rain fell from the heavens to mark the joyous event. We call our celebration of the Buddha's birthday Hanamatsuri, which means flower festival. And we do that in remembrance of those beautiful flowers that bloomed when the Buddha was born. So even though we are all staying at home to help stop the spread of coronavirus, and also keeping distance from each other, so we kind of have a little bit of loneliness in a way, you know, even if, of course, if we're lucky, we have other family members at home with us, but nevertheless, we're kind of isolated. And but you know, at the same time, we're able to realize, and maybe but through reflection, even more deeply realize, not take for granted, our oneness with each other, our community with everyone, and with all beings really. And as we listen to the Dharma and express appreciation for this life we have all received, and for the boundless compassion that guides and illumines our life, you know, that really will make us more deeply understand the connection we have with everyone. And so let's begin our service now with the Vandana and Tisarana. First of all, if you have a Butsudan, a Buddhist altar in your home, maybe please join with me by putting some flower and candle and lighting some incense. And you can join me as I do the offering of incense before the Vandana and Tisarana. And then following Vandana and Tisarana, I will make the offering of sweet tea to the baby Buddha, which we have here. And then following that, I will begin chanting the sutra Jusege, which is Amida's hymn or Gatha, reaffirming the vow to save all beings. Okay, so let's now begin our service by reciting the Nembutsu, and then we will have the Vandana Tisarana. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Bhutang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Abhidhamsa. Namo Abhidhamsa. Before we have the chanting of the sutra, I would like to make the offering of sweet tea to the baby Buddha. So this is to remember the sweet rain that fell in Lumbini Garden when the Buddha was born. So what we do is we take our little ladle and we pour the tea over the Buddha's head. And that is, normally we would have what is called a hanamido, little house that the Buddha would be sheltered by. But we don't have that here in my house, so we got a few flowers to simulate that. So I'm now going to make the offering of sweet tea. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida Butsu. Busetsu Muryo Jukyo Juseige Gagon Shosegon Hishimu Jodo Shigan Fumanzo Seifu Joshoga Gao Muryoko Dai se shu fu sai shou bin gu sei fu jo shou ga shi jou butsu do myo shou chou ji po ku kyo mi shou mon sei fu jo shou ga ryokujin shonen joe shubon kyo shigumu jodo isho tenin shi jindiki endai kofu shomu saido shoujo sankumyo kosai shu yakunan kaihichi egen meshi komo an heisoku sho akudo tsudatsu zenshu mo koso jomanzo ioroji po nichigatsu shujo ki tenkon fugen ishu kaihozo koseku dokuho jo daishu ju seppo shishiku kuyo isai butsuku soku shu tokuhan ganne shitsu joman tokui sangai o nyobutsu mugechi tsudatsu mifusho gangaku eri kitoshi saisho son Shiganya koka daisen okando Goku shotenin tochin myoke namandabo 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 Ganishikudoku Byodose Isai Dolhotsubo Daishin Ojo Andako Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Welcome again, and this time I'd like to share some thoughts about the Dharma with you. Let's begin by reciting the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So, we are here today, again, coming from my home, my little Buddhist altar here, and little Hanamido, which I borrowed from the temple. Actually, I didn't borrow the Hanamido. I just borrowed the statue and the bowl because the Hanamido is too big, and I don't know how to fix all those flowers on it. So, but we are doing our best to observe and to share, enjoy this wonderful occasion to remember the birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha. So, Shakyamuni Buddha. His birthday is a really good opportunity to talk about him. He was a real historical person. He lived, as I said, to 2,580 or 89 years ago or something like that, and he was in India, of course. And but we don't talk about Shakyamuni Buddha in our Shin Buddhist or Hongwanji temple tradition enough, I think. It might seem like Shakyamuni Buddha is not important in our tradition, but that's not right, you know. It seems like, you know, we say, oh, we only think about Amida Buddha instead of Shakyamuni Buddha, but that's not really correct view, I don't think. Shinran Shonin taught us that Shakyamuni Buddha is not only the one who revealed Amida's vow of great compassion to us, through teaching the larger sutra, the larger Pure Land Sutra. That's from where the Jusege and sutra that we chanted today comes from. But he's also the manifestation of Amida Buddha. So in one of his beautiful poems, Wasan they're called, Shinran said, Amida, who attained Buddhahood in the infinite past, full of compassion for foolish beings of the 5 defilements, took the form of Shakyamuni Buddha and appeared in Gaya. So Shakyamuni Buddha, according to Shinran, is a manifestation, a form, taking the form of that ultimate Buddhahood, which we revere or we conceive of as Amida, which means boundless wisdom, boundless life. Amida is infinite life, infinite wisdom. So Shinran told us that by following the Nembutsu path, we become Shakyamuni's true disciples. In other words, we don't become Amida's disciples. We are disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha. And if you have a Dharma name, a Buddhist name, or usually when people pass away, they receive a Buddhist name if they haven't received one in life. And that name always begins with Shaku, with a character that means disciple of Shakyamuni Buddha. So without the historical Buddha we call Shakyamuni Buddha, we wouldn't be able to encounter the Dharma. We wouldn't have had the opportunity to really have our minds awaken and become truly human. Without Shakyamuni Buddha, we would never have been able to encounter the teaching of Shinran Shonin. So it's always a good time to talk about Shakyamuni Buddha, not just on his birthday. And whenever we talk about the Buddha, we can really find more and more to appreciate in this life. When you think about Buddha Day, Hanamatsuri, we naturally remember the story about the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha. So he was born as Siddhartha Gautama, as I said, in the northern part of India, in a place called Lumbini Garden. And according to the legend, as soon as he was born, beside the flowers blooming and all that, he is said to have taken 7 steps in each of the 4 directions. And while he was taking those steps, he pointed to just like the statue, he pointed to the heavens and to the earth. And he said, in the heavens above, the sky above, and the earth below, I am the most noble one. I am the most noble one, the baby Buddha said. I shall dispel the suffering that fills this world. So I've often thought about baby Buddha's statement, saying this, or being, the story telling us that he says this. It sounds funny to say, I am the most noble one. We would think that's kind of egoistic. But it actually conveys an expression of, it also conveys an expression of ultimate good intention, you see, because he also says, I shall dispel the suffering that fills the world. So this newborn infant immediately expresses not only the great wish, the bodhisattva vow, to save all beings, but also he expresses the confidence that he can do it. I am the most noble one. Of course, we know that no human being, and Shakyamuni Buddha was a human being, walks and talks immediately after birth. We know that. This is a story. We know that this is some kind of deeper meaning here. But we should ask why Shakyamuni was said, or little baby Siddhartha was said to have spoken these words as an infant and not as an adult. To say I am the most noble one is referring to the nobility of the whole aspiration to become awakened. That is what is inside all of us, the deepest aspiration, the innermost aspiration to become, to awaken to this true reality. And, and that is also, of course, Amida's vow, this deepest aspiration for the true happiness and true awakening of all beings. So that's what the nobility is. He's referring to to the Buddha, not to the individual limited self. But we should ask why. But as I said, why did he say this as an infant and not as an adult? But if you think about it, a newborn baby is a pure being, right? A newborn baby does not have a calculating mind. He's not thinking, what can I get out of this? No human being ever born, I don't care how bad they became in life, Hitler, Stalin, whatever, Pol Pot, no matter how bad a person becomes in life, when they were born, they were a pure, innocent baby. That's true, right? People aren't not born evil. So we're all pure at birth. We all have that absolutely non-judgmental mind, no judgment, no discrimination. We don't calculate. We don't have any goals or plans. We have no agenda. We have nothing up our sleeves, Now, of course, we learn, or we're taught to be calculating and egotistic very quickly. But we start out just like an infant, completely awake to everything, living totally in the present moment, just completely honest, transparent, right? Nothing hidden. So in this story, Shakyamuni Buddha's mission in the world is proclaimed by this innocent, pure mind of the baby, entirely without self-interest. This teaches us that the cure for our suffering, both spiritual and material, is to awaken, or we might say reawaken, to our true mind, the mind that has no self-interest, no calculation, the mind of the Buddha. And in a way, to awaken means to become like a newborn baby. Not exactly the same as a newborn baby, because we know things, right? But that mind has to reawaken in us. That non-judging mind, that mind that's open and appreciative of every moment, that mind that dwells in the presence. And I think that also has a lot to do with what it means by being born in the Pure Land, especially I think what Shinran meant, that sense of that simple confidence that we are embraced just as we are. I read once, I don't remember where, but I read once that the spiritual path is really a process. We normally think the spiritual path like climbing a ladder, getting more and more, better or virtuous or wise or something. But actually the spiritual path is a process of unlearning everything we know, unlearning everything we think we know, right? Getting rid of all of our certainties, all of our preferences, all of our opinions. Everything that we fight over and have conflict over, dislike each other over, opinions. Nothing. They mean nothing, but we have them, right? We think that's the real thing, the only thing. So this state of unlearning, that's what the Buddha calls the mind of non-discrimination, the mind that embraces everything and everyone equally, with complete love, complete compassion. Shinran Shonin, he talked about this in another one of his poems, and he equated that mind with Buddha nature, and this is the poem he wrote. He said, when a person realizes the mind of non-discrimination, that attainment is the state of regarding every being as one's only child. This is none other than Buddha nature. We will awaken to it on reaching the land of peace. But it's important to understand that attaining this mind is not something we do through our own will, through our talents or virtues that we think we have, or wisdom. It doesn't mean that we get rid of our judgments and selfishness either. Actually, in a way, we all need our discriminating minds. Living beings cannot live without making judgments of some form or another, right? Just to survive, you have to decide what's safe, what's edible, all those things. That's judgments, But they become, in human beings, our tendency to make judgments becomes distorted. We start judging everything in our life and creating suffering for ourselves and others. If you reflecting on this, it's our discriminating mind that causes us to seek enlightenment in the first place. Because why do we seek Buddhism? Why do we start becoming interested in Buddhism? Because we realize it's a judgment. We say, my life is not right. I don't feel happy. Something's missing. That discriminating mind is actually, even though it's a cause of suffering, it's also a cause of awakening. So that's a very important thing in Buddhism to realize. Don't label anything, absolute good or bad. Everything has its place to guide us, and everything is part of the working of Amida, of great compassion, guiding us to awaken, which we are all destined to do. So when Shakyamuni Buddha, he had been, as a child and as a young man, he had been completely sheltered by his father in his palace, because his father didn't want him to get interested in the spiritual path. He just wanted him to, have that kind of self-centered mind so that he would become the next king. But as soon as he encountered sickness and old age and death, by sneaking out of the palace, seeing these things, sick people, old people, and so on. He was so shocked and disturbed, and his assumptions about life, about everything he knew about himself, everything, were completely shattered, completely crushed. And like everybody else, he had a view of the world that was based on his own self-interest, limited self-centered understanding, just only what he had experienced in a limited way, and he didn't know there was anything beyond that. And we call that in Buddhism attachments. We think that what we know, what we possess, or what we desire is somehow the source of our happiness. But when he discovered that all of his dearest beliefs are insubstantial, that what he thought of as permanent and real was actually impermanent and transient. He realized everyone he knew was going to get old and die. Everything was going to change. When this happens to anyone, to us, to everyone, the Shakyamuni Buddha is really the example for us. Our world just gets shaken up. It just, it's like an earthquake. And that's true of all of us. We all begin our spiritual journey only when our limited world, our certainties and, opinions and self-interest become broken apart. We realize that this is not real. This is not the final word on anything. And then we begin to sense that there's a true reality beyond our limited views, normally hidden from us. Really, we hide it from ourselves, or we hide from it. The Buddha spent a long time trying hard to become enlightened after this experience. He went through all kinds of things. And he worked hard, and he relied on himself and on his own discretion and his own insight and instincts and so on. But when he finally became enlightened under the Bodhi tree, when he awoke, right, it was not the result of just his own working. Enlightenment, the enlightenment that he discovered, or that his awakening is the reality, true reality itself. He awoke to what was really there. We cannot perfect ourselves. We awaken to the perfection that's already there. What is true and real, which has always been there, and which is who we truly are. The same thing happened to Shinran Shonin. Until he met his teacher Honen, he really thought he had to make himself perfect, do all these practices, get everything just right, his mind had to be pure without any bad thoughts, all those kinds of things. Honen taught him that perfection did not come from one's own working. It's already there. It's the result of Amida's vow, Amida's working, the deepest aspiration for the awakening of all beings. The Dharma is always there. When we realize this, everything, whether we call it good or bad, pure or impure, everything we see in our life becomes meaningful. And that is what Shinran means when he says that this state is one of regarding every being as one's only child. Everything and everyone should be loved and cared for, not just those we love, members of our own family, culture, nation, or whatever. So at this time, when we are having our own world, our world, the world we live in today, really shaken up by this coronavirus pandemic and all the things we kind of took for granted, all getting kind of shaken up, we can begin to see so much of the suffering in the world, in those around us, that we previously found it easy to ignore. We kind of hid it from ourselves. As communities everywhere are having now trouble just even acquiring medical supplies and other things that are needed, desperately needed, to take care of people and to support people, and the difficulty, in some cases the impossibility of many people to support themselves and their families when they must stay home and forego working. We all have to begin to question the priorities we've had up until now, and wonder whether there might not be better ways of living, of making this world a place to live in and to share. Hopefully we will learn a great deal from this experience. As sad as it is and as terrible it is for so many people, hopefully we will learn from it and that it will inspire us to change the way we think and live in the future. So as we observe Hanamatsuri today, which is a really time of, we should have joy, you know, and as we celebrate the birth of the most noble one, let's really devote ourselves and take to heart Shinran's words so that everyone will come to regard every being as their only child. So thank you very much for listening, and let's now conclude our these words by reciting the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Would you join me in Gasho now as we recite the golden chain of love? I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for joining with me today, visiting me in my home and joining with me as we celebrate Hanamatsuri and as we listen to the Dharma together and reflect on these important things. Please join Kahului Hongwanji community, online community, I guess we have to call it, next week, next Sunday, for our regular Sunday service, again here in my home. And then, and also, please check the YouTube channel, because we also have some other videos on there, some gathas being sung with ukulele. So if you feel like hearing some gathas, you can click on those. I'll try to keep adding to those as time goes by, but we have 3 of them up so far. And if you need information about anything at all, please give us a call at the temple. You can just call the temple number, because I can always pick that up. And then we also have our Kahului Hongwanji website, which you can easily find. If you don't know I think it's just kahuluihongwanji.org. And then call or just Google it. And also we have a Facebook page, so all those things that most of you are familiar with. But we have up-to-date information on our website and Facebook about things that are going on. Okay, thank you very much, and let's close our service now by reciting the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.